A little bit of mid control there. You can see Omen stacking up towards the garden. So shouldn't be too much to worry about for Alliance in terms of fancy plays off the bat.
You know, you have to say, usually Ryan calls this a zestism, where a weird metaphor comes in. Well, I'm sure gonna keep you up with those. In the meantime, Kadafra finds a great entry onto Dirk, and Jusu is keeping that on and on. Great kills coming over here on the B side, and suddenly, Boaster left alive, and yeah, well, not too many seconds we have had our action yet. Well, John, seems like 1 more minute to find Boaster. Hide and seek it is.
I'm a great fan of hide and seek. I think it's a fantastic game mode, but unfortunately, it's not the sort of thing that you want to be bringing in to the first round of the VCT, the upper brackets here. So, I mean, like, in the end, it's a flawless round for Alliance, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I mean, you look at how that round went. It was Kadavra just nailing these shots over in the middle site and just stopping anyone from moving forwards. Garage was controlled, and from there on out, there was kind of very little that FNATIC were able to do. It's the pistol round. FNATIC now with a chance to try and show up here. I mean, they're not looking to reinvest into the round. They're not looking to try and force this one out, go against those Marshals, against those Spectres, but potentially a rush on the cards here and towards Garage.
Taking their time here. No big surprise at that point, as though that little alarm bot ready, and same goes for Jusu, the very versatile Irishman that is able to, you know, swap agents from time to time, be an absolute battle sage or rather a duelist, is gonna get some support from Kadafra. And Alliance, there's not really too much on the line here. Obviously, the Spectres.
Yeah, an excellent ice wall at the start. That barrier orb doing so much work to hold off in that Garage position, and it just slowed everything down for FNATIC at that point. It's almost the round over there and then. FNATIC held on a little bit and were able to get a kill, but I just don't think that's really going to be too worrisome. However, that's all really coming off the back of that pistol round. As I said, you don't really expect to be winning these rounds. So FNATIC now really looking to step up into their first rifle.
And this is where it matters. This is obviously where FNATIC can come up with the big guns, the rifles in hand. And at that point, Haven, it's always something that can be annoying very much for a team like FNATIC when you simply can't prepare due to Alliance always swapping compositions. There's a little change here, a little change there. That's annoying. That genuinely must be annoying. And at the same time, it's down to you to play your own kind of game. Durker already entered the side of B, and this has already been occupied by the FNATIC side of things.
Quick 1-for-1 trade over in the mid, and actually the spike pushed all the way up. No control over the back of B anymore, as Durka now has that spot. Trying to go for this retake, actually very tricky. There's a lot of pressure across the rest of the map. In mid as well, it's being controlled. And a hard push to start.
Suddenly, it's a man disadvantage that happens over on the side of Alliance. No big surprise in the end. With that swift take on the B side, the way they obtained territory, the early passage of the game here, John, genuinely not surprised. And this is the thing, right? You lose the first two. This is the classic scenario where you lose the pistol, momentum shift in the way of the one's a pistol, blah, blah, classic amateur talk, whatever you would expect. But here's the thing. The reply right now lays within the weapons and in the hands of Alliance, who got the operator out and the actual rifles in play.
Yeah, I mean, the start of this game, it's the opening, right? It's the first moves in the chess game. You're going for those trades, it's the back and forth, and we're in a known position at this stage. But this is where it starts to pop off with those rifles. FNATIC, though, they don't show signs of slowing. They move straight up to C, and there's no one there. An overinvestment coming through from Alliance to play in the middle of the map, and now they have to go for the retake over on that C site when there's control already being exerted. There's trapwires behind. There's so much intel. FNATIC have the upper foot here.
A bit of an awkward scenario when suddenly those defensive mechanisms of the FNATIC side have been established without even a single casualty. And retaking this spot is gonna be costly, not only with casualties, but also time-wise. And Derek is obviously dodging that little Trailblazer. No chance for the Tasmanian Tiger to bite anyone. And he's waiting back in the corner. Still an option coming in from Magnum. And here's the assistance you're looking for. Good old Niels, no chance for him.
Excellent trades coming through from FNATIC to bring the enemy team to their knees. I really liked the crossfires that they established. They planted it in pretty much the perfect spot. They had the Sova all the way down long. And Boaster just nails that. Excellent play being set up and executed very nicely. I was worried at the start with that first pick on the retake, but then Durka just turns around and does what he does best. Top of the tables, 5 kills on the board. Already got those knives on line after getting the spike down as well. So should be pretty happy with that one.
And Haven recently doesn't feel like it's the sort of battlefield where FNATIC feels too comfortable at. A few losses they have found themselves in recently. For example,
is this last
against
round? What's going on?
No,
right,
it's just the perfect time where I can actually tell you something you've mentioned perfectly. You pretty much build up on it. You said it's like the first 2 rounds of chess, right? But you can lose in the first 2 rounds of chess. That's not possible in Valorant. Equals Valorant is the better game. Change my mind.
Look, you and I could discuss this for hours, but I think the more important part is if Boaster can hold off with these shock darts against the push potentially coming on through. The knive's already in, but a triple frag comes through for the FNATIC squad. Traded for 2, but it's getting dispatched down the long. Durka nails the last 3 stay alive for FNATIC and bring them 3 and 2.
For a second, it looked a bit like a nail battle round here, but the case closed in favor of FNATIC. And a thing I have to mention, I really, very honestly hate to talk about how many kills a player got, so on. But unfortunately, Dirk is a player where you want to see him on the top of the leaderboard, where you want to see him dropping those 30 bombs or something like that. And in the recent games we saw, against G2, for example, he was missing that. And right now, seeing once more on the top, let's hope it will stay that way, because it's a good sign for FNATIC.
You've got him on the operator now as well, so this is the time that Durka can really start to pop off. Take a look at the ultimates as well. Boaster almost up to that Hunter's Fury. You've got Doma on those Seekers. There's a lot of pressure that FNATIC can invest into this round. I mean, you're more than likely looking to see the Seekers potentially over towards the A site this time around. Looks like that's where the spike's going to be stacked up, and then Durka can play that massive threat on the operator, actually trading it over to Boaster, so fair enough. Want to keep those knives in the back pocket potentially, but a lot of ults. The question is, where do you invest them?
Another thing I imagine here is that if he has his dash available, that's the best way to enter a site and find a proper frag. In the meantime, though, Magnum is being eliminated, and the Hunter's Fury doesn't seem to find a thing at the moment, but it's Dirk who starts off good with that, whilst Lucker remains patient. First kill found, the second is not granted, and suddenly the defense on the A side is somewhat weakened. But you gotta get the spike down, and Doma's on it with a triple. That's beautiful flicking and beautiful control. Excellent stuff coming out of the orange squad. What looked a little sinister and that could have been turned around 180, all in favor of Boaster and the boys.
I'm not gonna lie, Alliance had me in the first half there, but I felt like FNATIC, you know, obviously Doma sitting towards the top now. You said you wanted to see Durka pop it out, but the rest of the squad perfectly capable of pulling out the frags when it matters, swinging this corner beautifully. I think that, though, the ult usage from FNATIC was on point, and I mean, you know, fair enough, you've got Boaster at the helm, he knows what he's doing, and investing 2 ults there, they still leave themselves with that neural theft, with the Blade Storm as well. And they are going to be able to look to invest them. Hype, though, they have that Defender Killjoy locked down, so potentially looking for some strong retakes. Set up for the B site. If you go for this, I think it's going to be a mistake. If you know that Hype has that lockdown available, it's such a difficult site to take. You can't move in there, because you know as soon as you try and take ground, you're going to be forced away.
Proper 4-round streak, and well, you can't do it like that here. The Marshal won't be the option when your opponent already got the operator in hand. And you mentioned the lockdown. Hype would hypothetically have the opportunity to use it, but is this the round, is the question at the same time, John, because the weaponry is not really inviting you to take such a well-fortified site, but here it comes.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at where he's sat. Like, this is the standard place for the Killjoy to drop this ultimate, getting those lineups. The question is, does Boaster have the counter lineups to just get rid of it immediately with those shock darts? So I have to wait and see. Retake, though, already straight on. They're already starting this defuse.
Oh, and the problem is right now, not only the flank from Cadaver working, one player is detained. Lucker is totally joining that. And it is the defuse that has been initiated and successful for Alliance. The entire chaos that descended over on the side suddenly leaves Alliance with a thrifty, successful round. And I can't even lie to you, that fully passed me. It looked like they were still fighting that one, but what a casual retake it was. It didn't feel like it was that much stress.
I think, yeah, that's potentially a little bit of a misbeat. You do have the shock darts available. The question is, did Boast use them in the round earlier? I didn't quite catch it, but if you have those lineups, you can take down that lockdown fairly easily. It's right there in the corner. It's the same place really every time. Technically, you know, if you're up to date on your geometry, you can figure out exactly where the Killjoy lockdown is every single time, because you can see the, you know, you can see your tangent to the sphere. But we won't get into that either, because at the moment it looks like C back on the cards. It worked out earlier. Dirk is shut out this time, though.
Cadaver starting to go over the counterfrag on the counterpart. But right now you see there is a lot of room to take over on Garage. No tripwire to be found, and Lucker gotta be careful about exactly that position. But it's just 60 more seconds. Seems like they prep up for the A side take, but Firov might have a say in this.
Potential to bring Doma with an orb with those Seekers, or try and find a kill there, but already being a player down, you don't really want to be going for too many ults to be invested here. 4 players all the way up to B. Maybe just get some fast ground here. Get some fast frags if you can. Alliance struggling to hold out this initial push, but the spike looking to get planted.
That's beautiful. And Lucker is even keeping up. That's going to be the B side in favor of the German, and Mystic, as he still tries to take this one home, he's still on it. Most definitely the Seekers, though, should have identified where the final FNATIC soldier is standing, and he's standing strong. But some tasks are also impossible for him. And
10 seconds left.
As he should check on his last rabies.
Yeah, needs to make sure you're up to date. I mean,
yeah.
it's necessary. Dropping back down long, grabbing that op, making sure that you're saving it in. Fair enough. You can put that back in the hands of Durka, trade it over to Boaster when you need to. That's something that I really like that FNATIC are doing. They're putting it into the Jet's hands and then leaving it back towards Boaster to play as that backstop on the Sova. Looking for those retake potentials, looking for the Fendos on the angles to just get those one taps. Mystic with a really great shout there, but it was already a done deal. I mean, that first kill led them to push into B. And then after that, they were just kind of getting surrounded there. They didn't really have the presence. They didn't have the picks. They didn't really have the tempo to be getting into that site. They were lucky to be able to get as far as they did.
There it goes again. Dirk is starting off good over on the side of A. This was swift. And only Cadaver remains to do some of this abracadabra stuff. But Boaster got the same weaponry in hand. That's the operator taking out the Alliance. Jet leaves it only down to 2. Jusu, as much as he would like to revive anyone, slim chances, but therefore he gets a lot of information. Here's the players rotating away from the A side itself. Magnum is coming close, and that is the spike delivered on a silver platter right here.
But it is isolated. It is split off. A really heads-up barrier wall there, and lands a second headshot over on a Boaster. Drops the res, and Alliance have this round now. Mystic again with it all to do.
And it seems like such an odd mistake here from the side of FNATIC. Mystic once more proved like he has the capability to clutch things, but look at that, 35 seconds and 3 opponents remaining, one of them being elevated up in heaven. What a dramatic change of events here, and FNATIC falling short again.
The Irishman for Alliance standing tall right there. What a play from the Sage coming through. Jusu absolutely doing the team proud. So much work there. I'm glad we're getting a replay. I mean, you look out, you get that swing onto Boaster, already drops the wall behind. You can see there was a sigh of relief, as you know that at that point, they just know they've kind of got the round. They're up against Mystic again, and Alliance are going to be kicking themselves for letting that one run away from them. I mean, what do you do there? You have to have checked that site, right? You have to have fully scanned it. They pay the price for not having that happen. And an overzealous return to A with the spike, they get punished for it.
And this is the thing. It seemed so reckless at that point in time, right? It seemed so reckless to just jump on the side when there's 2 more players alive, and you have no information about them. That's the thing. right? The neural theft being put in there. Sure, you get a temporary piece of information. At the same time, to be honest, that is just too risky. Because sure, you know, Jusu is mainly playing over there in Garage, mainly elevating his wall. That's cool, that's fine. But he knows how to use WASD and knows to move over to the A side. And this is where I think it's so unusual. We're talking here about a Masters finalist doing such mistakes. It's human. We all do mistakes, but it's still odd.
Yeah, it's not the time you want to be making those mistakes.
Yeah.
You want to try and minimize them as much as possible. Going into this round, FNATIC, they're not really going to have the best of buys. You can see a couple of Sheriffs. They've got one Vandal, the hero rifle on the side of Durka. I mean, fair enough. If there's one guy you want to have it, it's him. He's going to dash over straight away.
And Jusu falling down on the ground early on. Durka showing his entry capabilities once more as he dashes in, but instantly they're a little afraid to move. And I know this spot. Liquid hates this spot, but this time Firov doesn't need to fear a thing. No, don't let it be cursed. Nope, it's not cursed. For a second, I thought we have to see this again. And Europe is not allowed to play at this spot anymore, but it seems like Alliance gained their 6th.
Very, very solid from Alliance. I mean, that look, I'll be honest, I was very, very worried for Feroth there after missing that spray, and I felt like Magnum was going to win it out. But, you know, obviously with the drop on it, with the advantage on the angle, Magnum in a little bit of a panic, you are going to get that one. Let's take a look at that spray one more time. Oh, that is brutal. That is brutal.
It's Team Liquid PTSD.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. But, yeah, either way, Alliance pick up the pieces on that round. They bring it back together. 6 rounds already on their half. I'm fairly impressed with what they've been able to do so far, clutching out rounds that probably they shouldn't have done. But it feels like FNATIC, yeah, this is the perfect time to go for this tactical timeout. I was just about to say that FNATIC, it feels like they haven't been quite cohesive and they need to just realign, taking this time, take that breath, and make sure that you can get these next 2 rounds on the board. Go into the half evens, and you've got a much better chance of coming out on top. And at a crucial juncture as well, of course, being in the upper bracket, you do have that lost card to play, but you don't want to be playing it, especially if you're FNATIC, a team who people are looking to be the top in the region, certainly in this run for the qualification spots.
I remember very much the great woman from the production called Leah did a little bit of a survey or you know, a poll on who's going to win this tournament with all our casters. And I think everybody said like FNATIC. And then at one point, I think someone was trolling and said 10-star. I think it was Twiggy saying 10-star. And I'm not quite sure if he was serious or if he was trolling. Either way, I think this shows you how much confidence everybody has in picking FNATIC. And it's a bit of a weak start. It's a bit of something we have seen earlier against Vitality with the guys of Liquid as well. Let's not hope this will happen once more.
Yeah, I do. I mean, 10-star did win their game. They did win the game. A nice ping out onto Feroth, finds Doma the kill. And the angle found against Cadavra. It's not going to matter. Durka nails it, so does Jusu. Playing forward up in mid, dropping that spike down. They didn't get the info on that, but FNATIC going to have to beat a hasty retreat to get through there, and that's going to lose them time, allowing Alliance to spread out across the map. You can see they're rebasing their fire line. They move Jusu back. They move Hype over towards that C site, and immediately Alliance have that line. Excellent, excellent tempo control here from Alliance coming through.
Magnum, being an individual FNATIC picked up after they got rid of that British duo of T-Sec and Mo. Specifically, he was picked actually for the reason to relieve stress off of Boaster, because he on his own is very capable of being that little setup, little Cypher, little Sentinel nerd in a very good way. And I can understand the point. I mean, the guy is, as young as he is, one of the most crucial individuals at the FNATIC side. Right now, Boaster is the crucial point man on the FNATIC side who just might run into the scope of Cadavra. Yep, he does. And a little flick is no tough task for the Frenchman. Magnum might be just lurking around, but Doma holding the side on his own here. I got my doubts, John, and it seems like they are for a good reason.
Doma able to find Jusu though now. Playing from hell, they have the plant, they have the spike down. Did they not check it? Doma finds 2. A quad kill looks for the next. And it's an ace coming through from Doma. FNATIC bring a round back.
But do you want to tell me that they know where he is? You can't be telling me that. And then
I have no idea.
This was so reckless. Look at this again. Right? Okay, he stepped. He definitely stepped on site. Kadavra heard that. He even killed Jusu. So, at this point in time, guys, what do we have right now on our belt that we can use to turn this one around? And this is the answer? No, this is not a valid answer. I'm a little surprised. This seemed very reckless and absolutely unnecessary, but still, what a job.
I mean, you talk about human error. That's it right there, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Just miscommunication coming through from Alliance. It must have been. I mean, that's the only reason I could think that to happen. We'll have to put that aside for a minute because FNATIC not slowing down one jot. That tactical timeout working out.
I still got to recover from that one, but either way, Dirk is showing what he can do with the tiny blades. As Jusu is waiting patiently for the players to come around, but Boaster has to reply to this. And as they want to take the plunge over on the B site, still a few more obstacles in the way. And specifically, we're talking about an individual having a lockdown he could use anytime soon. But first of all, he's trying to use the bullets in his magazine. He knows where Boaster's around. He still finds Magnum. And this leaves it only on Lucker. Does he have the right timing? Not too many more bullets. Free overall. He's got to fake it once. But don't play mind games with Boaster, because you will lose this party of Ches as he still considers to swing. No, still doing a little belay over on the wooden floor. And left, right, and center, he's checking. No clue where Lucker is coming from. And he still needs to defuse, and he's still taking him down. This was one hell of a dance, and it seems like this salsa comes to an end.
They are going to have to take a break. Sweaty retiring from that dance floor. The half is upon us, and it's 7-5 to Alliance. Good. They have the lead. They have the advantage here against FNATIC, but you do not want to let them start to get ahead. On defense, with those shot calls coming through from Boaster, you know that they are going to have some solid lines to be trying to move on through. They've got that control from Magnum on the Cypher, moving that over to what looks to be over on that C site, leaving some utility on the B here on the pistol. It's going to be very, very hard to get through this line, and I'm expecting that Alliance might struggle just a little bit. The question is, do they have something up their sleeve? And at the moment, they're looking to stack towards A.
And as we're switching, Alliance seem to be, overall, in the last few games, a bit more comfortable over on the attacking side of this map, which could be somewhat of a harbinger of what's happening soon to the FNATIC side. But, you know, I would right now try to give you a German saying, but I rather dodge it. 7-5. Let's leave it like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Boaster playing up close on the A site, looking to control the sewers, and a slow round so far on the pistol for Alliance. It looks like they were looking for picks. You can see they've got someone on the back, and there's the pick they were needing. Boaster does go down on the A.
Silence before the storm hits, and Alliance is not actively gaining too much information. They sent a little guiding light in front of garage. No sound has been made. All good, but here it comes. They realize what's just awaiting them in front of the gates of the side of A, and FNATIC is waiting patiently as Durkin keeps on hitting those beautiful taps. It leaves it only down to Hype, and he's gonna start doing his best Usain Bolt impression to run over to A, but he's not even doing that, rather sneaks around. Right-hand side, there's already a Doma awaiting him. Two more on the left. It's not going to be that one of an easy task, and it seems they haven't realized, but behind him, hold on! Doma's whiffing his shots! This can't be happening! At the same time, in no universe, that spike has to be planted. In no universe, this can work. He's dodging around, he's flying around, but he's been taken out in the end.
God, Alliance will not let me sleep easy. Goodness me, I'm going to be nervous all day after that. An excellent crossfire at the start there of the push for FNATIC to be able to hold off Mystic. Brilliant trigger discipline. Allowed Durka to give that call to say, go for that swing. Gets a headshot to the back immediately. Attention completely drawn in. It's a AoE taunt by the looks of things from Mystic. And Durka just nails those headshots around the edge. Mystic ends up going down, but by then the work is done. Fantastic setup on the pistol on the first round of FNATIC, looking strong on their defense. Now it's time to bring in the SMGs. Durka's sticking to that Ghost and Boaster on that Frenzy as well. So a little bit of cred saved in the back pocket, but you got the Sheriff to worry about coming through. Up close and personal, Durka doesn't make it work.
Yeah, and that obviously doesn't end too easy for Dirk, as though Damage dealt once more on the side of Alliance is quite decent. Even the man advantage they're taking home. And again, they end up successfully over on that A site. Options limited for FNATIC. You talked about they have the submachine guns, and let's say it like that, there are more ideal weapons than that. As though it is actually Mystic falling off a fall damage, breaking his ankle, and leaving it down to only Doma. He has whiffed, unfortunately, in the previous round, but this time, he could become the savior, and he will. Oh, this back and forth, you talk about not sleeping easy today? Are you sure it's not going to be the entire week?
Yeah, I'm scheduled for my next easy sleep in sometime in August. I think probably about August 5th. I'm looking at my next.
I'm free that day.
I don't know what my sleep has to do with you, Sesh, but
Just aligning it, you know.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. I feel like that's the best way to build synergy, you know. But a cheeky little clutch coming on through. The saving grace of that round was the fact that the two players who went down on the A site did not have SMGs. They had, I believe it was, the Ghost and the Frenzy from Durka and Boaster, right? So you don't give over those SMGs. If you lose a player, you give over a Spectre. If you put that in the hands of Alliance, that round goes an entirely different way. But as it stands, FNATIC able to retake, able to come back through, and they can reinvest here. What that means is that limits the amount of impact that this bonus round can have to try and counter them out. Alliance, they're fully on the rifles, sure, but you're coming up against 3 rifles in response. You've got Mystic, Boaster, and Durka up on those Vandals, as well as 2 Spectres from Doma and Magnum, sure, but you're playing against a Cypher and a Sky. Their utility kind of makes up for that a little bit.
Right.
You've got the pressure from those trapwires, the cams, the flashes. It's very, very hard to move through. They're going to force you to play close to them, and that's where those Spectres can do a lot of damage.
That was a perfect 1-minute podcast on how valuable those Spectres actually are. Big props here, John. Would download. At the same time, though, I think we don't really need to elaborate at how strong those high-caliber rifles are when it comes down to pure aim fights. Durka being tacked to 26, it's not making it any better right now for FNATIC squad. Though it is Mystic and Boaster in combination doing a proper job. They cannot prevail over on the site. It's not going to be that easy for FNATIC to keep it up, but as Durka swings and comes even with that flank, that might be just a nail in the coffin for this round number 15. Juicy got to play one perfect round, still could heal himself if he feels like it. But I got my doubts, and, well, it seems like they're justified.
4 seconds, and that's the spike not going to be planted. They even know that there's a player there. Can't even find the final kill. Juice goes down. FNATIC put another one on, and that is demonstrating just how strong FNATIC are in their defense. The story so far has been crossfires, and that is it for FNATIC. They have incredible positioning when it comes to the fights that they take. It feels like they've already thought it out 2, 3, 4 moves ahead, right? And they are just always in those right positions. They know when each other are going to be moving. They've been in the dojo practicing up on those balance techniques, making sure that they're in sync with one another, because right now it's looking very, very clean from FNATIC on this defense. Starting off though, we're going to go back to the pistols for Alliance, back onto the rifles, not fully for FNATIC. They want to try and capitalize and actually get a cheeky little bonus on Boaster here. Let's see what they can do, but the Seeker's coming in for Alliance.
Doma has anticipated before it all happened, but Gaddafi is ending up behind the back of Doma, and he's still alive, hides into his own smoke, but he keeps up going for fights, losing that one indeed. Costly for sure, don't get me wrong, FNATIC still only playing with 3, as once the majority is killed, there's going to be a big rebuy in the next one, but the primary goal here is to find success over here. Lucker is passing away, well, not most literally. And as you hear the beautiful German accent, this is how it could sound like, but in the meantime, you only hear the gun sounds. Hype is finding Dirk, and same goes for Lucker with Mystic. He's finding another! Boaster is being brought to the ground, and Alliance tie it up. And one thing that is so notable about this squad, whenever they just have to work with the worst weaponry, just a few sidearms here and there, they still flourish in such a beautiful way. This is what makes them so lethal again and again.
Cadaver sitting head and shoulders right now above the rest of the lobby for the squad as well. I mean, Lurker in that last round, Phenomenal triple kill. So on the swivel, brings them a thrifty victory, picks up a rifle, saves that in as well. That's going to see them pretty safe. Not a lot of money to be spoken of on the FNATIC side as well after the damage that was dealt in the previous rounds. Leaves them a little bit destitute. Only a Spectre on Magnum, and that's really it. Trying to thread the needle there, but Durka does pay the price. A headshot found, and yet another FNATIC probably going to be going down here. Looking down the barrel of a 9-8 deficit for FNATIC, they're going to be trying to pick this one back up, get some economic damage inflicted, try and have the same sort of impact around the corner. Only one kill found so far.
Would have been quite a unique miracle if that shorty could have done the job, but back in the lead. Alliance, the ones, you know, that have decided to rather play this map. Pardon, that was FNATIC. Excuse me. What a stupid mistake. It's Icebox that comes next for Alliance. That's the right way around it. And hypothetically, Breeze would be outsider. You know, people who pay attention have realized that already earlier in the map selection. I would love to see Breeze, but I just can't decide yet if we even see free maps, to be very honest.
I really think it comes down to how FNATIC perform here. I feel like they have an advantage on the Icebox, but obviously being Alliance's pick, they feel like they're more comfortable there. If Alliance can take this Haven, that is absolutely phenomenal for confidence to come up against FNATIC. Probably the strongest team in this phase of the tournament. Certainly on paper, certainly in the minds of a lot of people watching, in the minds you mentioned earlier of the people who are going to be talking about it on the camera, on the broadcast. So to be able to take their map, that is really a statement for Alliance. Still yet to come to pass, so FNATIC still have time. And if there's anything that we've seen from their defense, is that it is pretty consistent here. Alliance obviously able to punch a hole through it in the last round, but now they're up against the full rifles.
Just realizing what's coming up and hits a perfect entry over on Lucker. No time to end up in despair because you still got a flank in the form of Kadafra coming around. A little too eager, it felt like. But it might have been Hype who actually went past the security measures. Knows that there's an Omen back on the site of B, who's not gonna spot him, but they got him on the radar. FNATIC realized that another player could have passed through, and it's going to be that B-side hit, which somewhat comes in with a flank. Hype is still around. Hype is going to be blinded. Dirk's also taking out Jusu, but it's still Firaf who stands with his teammate, but no chance in the end. The back and forth goes on, and I think we're here for a long time there, John.
I don't think that FNATIC are going to give this half up. I do feel like now they're on this defense. They're pretty secure here. I think it's what is it, 2 rounds now? They've 2 or 3 rounds that they've lost in this half. I need to double check on that, but it's very minimal moving into this one, bringing it up 9 and 8. They started the half, so it would be 2 rounds they've lost in this half overall, and that last round, you know, it's fair enough. It's against a full eco. They lost the one before that, but they come back and you can see their confidence really not knocked in the slightest to be able to go for these holds, to be able to go for these retakes. They're still very aware. You mentioned it. They knew that there could have been a player through that connector. They controlled that ground. They came in for the retake. Now, setting up for A, I'm not the biggest fan here. You know Durka's going to be absolutely on the ball. And he just nails the shot. You're moving into an operator. What do you think is going to happen?
You will not kill my
He's basically a tower of strength, the bastion of calm over on the sides, and, well, also that bastion can be taken, but nope. He's retreating. Only reasonable move. And we talked about lineups, we talked about killjoys, and Durka is just waiting for it. He's being detained. Well, at the end of the day, a little bit of a worrying aspect that he can be taken out of the game that easily. This has given him a slight advantage in taking the side, and this is what they do with E. Stoma is the point man, eliminated, and the refracts are coming in again and again, but obviously this is not done when Durka falls. Same goes for Boaster as he's swinging around, finds another. The triple is secure. The quad could come next, and he gets that quad as well. Dirk's on fire, that is for sure, but Lucker is knocking on the back door any second soon, and Durka is realizing that. Boaster is here to support, and suddenly they're all blind. Lucker wants to get that round. Double digits for who is the question, and he still keeps on tapping the bomb. Dirk is on it, and the ace is well deserved. Ice cold Finn, obviously bringing it home for FNATIC.
The name might start with A, but it's the A site that FNATIC dominate right now. It's absolutely brutal. Durka just dismantling any idea of what they wanted to happen there. Even with the Sage ult, the Resurrect, that was 6 players in that round for Alliance, and Durka moved through them like a knife through butter. Honestly, the guy is insane. I mean, he sat at the top. 23 kills right now for the squad. Incredible, incredible stuff. Lucka looked pretty good on this retake, I'll be honest. Had a big flank a little bit late there, maybe to try and save the rest of his team, but when you're coming up against Durka, I mean, fair enough. Goodness me, what a round coming through from Durka. Ults online for FNATIC. Tempo in their favor, 10 and 9. They're looking at least the next 2 rounds, probably, and to put themselves on 12 and 9 would be phenomenal to see. Certainly looking pretty good for this one. The Vandal being brought on up for Alliance. They're trying to go for that hero rifle, trying to move that one forwards, potentially into Garage and open up in mid and B, potentially rotate towards that C position. But realistically, you're looking at FNATIC getting that 11th on the board, getting some confidence to come back into this one after their deficit at the first half.
Just as the thunderstorm outside of my window, FNATIC seems to strike with the same sort of force. 10 rounds that I have now obtained, and, you know, in the way that I'm very glad to see, because, like I mentioned earlier, if there's anyone out there who thinks that, you know, ACS and KDR and average damage per round is a great indicator of putting players in a sort of category, you're absolutely wrong. Please educate yourself on how, you know, team shooters work. At the same time, you want that Durka performs. You want that he's absolutely on fire, playing a Jet, being that sort of, well, not solo entry, because you never do any if there's, can you recall any move where Durka seemed stupid? I can't. It always is a very well done entry move. At the same time, you want him on top, and this is what he right now obtains. Absolute hero for FNATIC, as they have picked him up when he was even playing in the CIS scene. A lot of Europeans didn't even have on the radar because, let's be honest, how many European Valorant fans are too much into CIS?
I mean, sure, for the average fans, I mean, for talent scouts, especially when you're looking at teams like FNATIC, at that sort of organization, they're going to be they're going to have their eyes out because they knew what Valorant was all about. Certainly in the early days, they were looking everywhere, picking up some of the UK guys as well. Obviously, Boaster coming on through from one of their squads. Alliance with their tactical timeout. Again, it's a very similar position to where FNATIC were towards their first half. It feels pretty similar in terms of what they're trying to do, just cut off that pacing. The FNATIC have been able to build up, try and play that circuit breaker card and bring themselves back, because they know that if they go down here, if they go 11 to 9, it's going to be very, very difficult in terms of not having that leeway to move through, not having the opportunities to potentially look to come back into it. And so Alliance now really wants to revise their strategy. At the moment, you've got Durka over on that C site. The question is, for Alliance, do you know that this is the sort of adjustment that FNATIC are going to be making? You don't really want to be moving up into the sightlines of Durka, I'll tell you that much. I mean, especially with the operator down C long. I mean, you know, safer times have been had, certainly. That much I can definitely say. So the question for me is, what do they go for? What sort of strat are they going to pull out? And at the moment, it looks like they're setting up for mid, but we've seen these rotate in towards an A, in towards a C, but the pings start to come down, and yeah, look at this. They want to try and play B with a flanking Garage.
Well, if you would one, I'm sure you want to run into his crosshair. Other than that, you don't want to run into your crosshair of Doma as well. Man's on fire. Sure, he had a few weird whips from time to time, but brilliant stuff, pure aggression. This is the new Sky, by the way. If you have pretty much went into sleep mode ever since patch 2.0, this is 3.0, and well, this is how you play Sky nowadays. FNATIC showing strength early on.
Very, very solid from Doma. Just reads it, hears the footsteps, knows what's going on, flashes out, gets 2 kills. Absolutely worth. Doesn't have the Seekers online, so you know that isn't going to be wasted for that retake. And now FNATIC have 4 ults available. They allow B to be moved on through. They think they can get this retake, and it looks like they're going to have to do so. You need to move in. Magnum probably going to be on the flank here. An excellent Hunter's Fury is going to be pulled out of the bag to start things off for Boaster.
Yeah, but Boaster is lucky enough to have his bodyguards around him. Hype is definitely locking them in, and here we have the green wall. Free Cloud for Optic, but other than that,
Found them.
the retake abilities of the FNATIC side look ideal. They have enough abilities and also ults that would help them out to obtain control. But now you gotta stay careful first of all. They know about the mid control that Juicy holds, but do they also know who's waiting back in window? That is one of the things. At the same time, Lucker's waiting outside of the gates and more players are coming towards the site. The defense remains strong though. Lucker's teleporting in and he's taking him out. No! It's Dark who's getting the no-scope and you end up in front of his barrel, but Hype has an opportunity to deny it once more. The quad has been brought in by the Frenchman and it's actually Boaster who dies off of the explosion. It is exceptionally well played by those guys. And it's so crazy that I even call a Lithuanian a Frenchman. It's tied again.
This is why we say European Valorant is the best in the world. The plays going on in this round, honestly, the size of the balls collectively for these squads is absolutely gargantuan right now. It's incomprehensible what just happened. But there were two real things for FNATIC that I was worried about during that round. I feel like, first of all, they allowed Alliance to get onto the B site, fine. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to take a break because the round's already popping off. A 1-for-1 trade, starting off pretty well. A pistol for FNATIC, they're not expecting it, so a good trade to start things off. In the last round, I just want to say the rotation's a little bit slow to come in for the retake and the kill on the backlines as well, but they start the C site take.
Well, again, it seems like it's going to be a long night, but I'm absolutely up for it, most literally. Booster only coming in with a little frenzy here.
One enemy remaining.
As he's hitting the first. But old Jake is doing his best. 47 points of health. Killed in the process. 11-10. And look at him. What is Juicy saying? I have no clue. The man who came to Ireland 6 years ago, mother and father, French and Turkish, and previously played for Volvo Peak. Not too many players had him on the radar. Not too many noticed the capabilities, the strengths this man has. But for his age, an absolute talented, well, maybe the fifth in the end. Fifth player.
I mean, certainly something to be worried about. The thing with that round, though, just there, is that FNATIC on those pistols did a lot of damage to Alliance's bank. If Alliance aren't able to win this round, it's looking pretty disastrous. They're up to 11-11. Durka gets an early frag over towards Suez. Back to basics for FNATIC, and they already give themselves the advantage. Juicy doesn't have that res available. They've got the lockdown to try and play behind, as well as the Seekers, which is excellent for a take. But the retake also equally strong coming on through. You've got that neural theft to isolate those post-plant positions and the Seekers to lead them in as well.
Patience is key, as we all know. What's also key and absolutely valuable is that little lockdown in the hands of Hype. Could be just basically the life insurance, but as he's moving forward, Durkin might just find him beforehand. Nope, that's not happening. And here it comes. The A site is under big attack right now here, John.
Looks like the Killjoy will be dropping that lockdown. Some pretty sneaky little spots you can stick alive in and stay unlocked down. Durka able to get the shot down onto Hype. Mystic swings out from hell for another, but Fearoth looking to try and do something into the round, finds two. Finally taken down by Mystic, but Jusu looking to rally on through, has the spike, moves to control, spots the flash around the corner, sprays it with the pre-fire, but Doma takes it down. A FNATIC who limited the economy last time put another punch into the gut of Alliance, and I do not know if they're going to be able to stand up and catch a breath from it.
And you see right now, it's over on Valorant Esports 4, where you can watch Rick's GG versus Vodafone Giants. Somehow they already have a 3-0 scoreline for Vodafone Giants. It's magic. Don't know how, but it's magic.
Nobody knows. It's impossible to know. It's a super secret, but either way, they make it happen. They make it happen. A little bit of a technical timeout coming on through. But as I was talking about with the economies, with FNATIC, with Alliance, after the last round, now Kadevra is stuck over on that Guardian. They're putting the Vandal onto Juicy, but there's really no other rifles available. FNATIC, a full lineup right now. They have everything that they could need. Mystic has not had to invest there. They've got that Phantom from the last round. They're looking good to put that 12th up on the board. For me, this is the situation that FNATIC were really, really looking for, especially off the back of a couple of rounds that they potentially shouldn't have lost there. They don't really have too many ults to play with, though, and that's my main worry. You've got the res available for Jusu, and that could be crucial here, especially on an eco round. If you get 1-2 picks, you bring those rifles over, and all of a sudden, it's another story. A-site stack looking to be up for play.
One down.
No res.
From Durgan. There you go. Exactly as you mentioned, the res. Now out of the game. Boast realizing what's coming his way, but those shock darts just seemed like they should have killed Lucker in the end. Dodged it. Barely, most likely. And there's no flank from FNATIC. You see right there, they take absolutely no risks, as in the meantime, another player of the line side falls.
I mean, they're trying to go for the spike, but in this situation, it's really damage control coming through from Alliance. Sure, maybe they can pull off a miracle play, but the thing you're looking to do is try and put as many of those rifles in the dirt as possible. Try and keep FNATIC on the back foot, and don't allow Durka to get back on their operator. Try and deny
Come on.
those ult points coming through from the kills. I mean, if you're able to get the kills, fantastic, but Mystic already ready and waiting to report, but potentially a little bit of a bait coming on through. Mystic senses it, falls back to the A site.
30 seconds left.
I'm always amazed how much damage Alliance deal at the end of the day when there shouldn't be too much of an option for exactly doing so. And as I say it, Mystic falls, hype, Swiffin, and it only comes down to one. Lucker could at least put the spike on the ground. Most definitely is very keen to do so. And that's something. That's all right. Surely he should not stand a chance. And he's considering swinging. Okay, big risk. One player coming through, and Durka even being eliminated. Nevertheless, number 12 coming in for FNATIC. And let's be real, the likelihood of an overtime is probably quite high at this point, the way we saw them play.
Well, let's look at what happened last time these two teams faced, right? This is quite a long time ago, to be fair. This is back in April. This is before a lot of the roster changes that happened this year. It was back in April 1st. It's the same first two maps that we're going to be seeing. So Haven, the first map between these two teams, it went to quadruple overtime on Haven. It went 18-16, and Alliance were able to win it out in the end, and they're back on the rifles. They have their shot, but the question is, what are they going to try and pull off? Killjoy potentially looking to control towards C. Durka aggressive on A, but B site, again, potentially fast on the cards for Alliance. It worked out for them before. They were able to move through. FNATIC didn't respond fast enough. They didn't have the impact from the flank as well. And now it looks like potentially the same thing happening, but C site potentially a little bit more under focus right now for Alliance.
Well, for Alliance, it seems like it's time to shake off the cobweb off those weapons, and it seems like this is exactly what they're doing. Just ask for it. Thank you very much for doing so. Appreciate it, Nils. Vielen Dank. And as we're getting into the 12 to 11, it seems like we might just even end up in a tied-up situation, but there's still Durka sneaking up from behind, and that little turret didn't figure out a thing! No, Durka, he whiffs like that! Just get caught by surprise, and it's a flawless! It's not a close round, it's not 3, it's not 4, no, it's all players surviving to get into overtime. I mean...
What happened? What on earth was that? I mean, there were a couple of whiffs coming through, and it felt like just FNATIC crumbled. They hadn't tried C-Site really in that same vein with the split up in Garage for Alliance. And FNATIC just were not ready. They did not expect that in the slightest. You have to be hitting those shots as well. I mean, you see Hype wandering through the dark cover. You have the advantage there. You should be winning those every day of the week. You have the cover from the Sentry as well. I mean, like, what more sort of an advantage can you want? But all credit to Hype for nailing that one. Goodness me. Absolutely on the swivel. Keep Alliance in the running. And now it's FNATIC's time to try and go for this attack as well. They're not practiced on it. The half obviously changing. And they're back in. But Kadavra, the 4 position given away, has to dash back with the tailwind.
Well, as Chekhov's law said, if you see a 12-11, next thing you know is that there's an overtime coming or something like that. I don't know.
I think that's exactly what it is, yeah.
Exactly. I think I know Russian theater really well, so absolutely believe me on that. Man, professional Radiant player. Either way, getting away from that, it seems like FNATIC are once more coming up with an approach that's very slow. We saw them approach the B site a little slow, moving over, so on and so on. And at this point in time, the C site seems so alluring, doesn't it?
Oh, it's just so open. Come on, FNATIC. You know you want to. The sun's lovely. Bring your sun cream. Factor 50. But the tan they're getting probably a little bit more than they bargained for. Trying to get past this wall. Don't really want to wait for it to time out, but there's no one really that close by. And actually, the opener onto Hype in mid is so important. Durka immediately pulls the trigger, and this is a great start to the C site take.
Well, it looked like one alluring, glowing sight that they'll take. Absolutely did that. And as Juzu plays around the edge of that Omen smoke, is that gonna work that well is the question. Once more, patience is key. We know that.
Blocking sight. Blocking sight.
And as we see their flank coming in over on the minimap in the form of Fearoff, is that even valuable? Durka finds Juzu, but Kadavra is still there, and Durka is now even slowed and makes a lot of steps. Is going to be killed as well. It's a 3 versus 3. And the flank was not even relevant. They might just be able to stick that thing, and they will definitely do so, but they'll fake it as much as possible. Every single piece of utility is coming their way, and now we start the action. It's halved. Locker keeps on, but is being killed. And very honestly, Kadafra shouldn't and won't make this one work.
Excellent plant there coming through from FNATIC. I mean, they set up for long absolutely as they needed to. They moved through. There just wasn't time for Alliance to come back on in. Hype going down early into the round meant that those rotations were cut off, were slowed, because you have to be checking those angles more in mid. A fantastic take coming through from FNATIC. They start things off slow, they find their opening, and they flow like water all the way up the long. Durka immediately pulling that trigger and giving FNATIC the advantage they need. Looking to put that 14th up on the board and try and take themselves into the win.
I'm really surprised that this got this close. Like, I expected a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, Alliance has been showing amazing progress as team, and Banks announced it a while ago, formed this team that obviously had a few hurdles in their way. But FNATIC, they most definitely have issues against this team, and this will be a promising best of 3, but for now it is a promising haven. Where Mystic missed at the players to his left-hand side.
Oh, no.
Oh, he finally needs to kill him, and he even gets the double. Doma's on the right-hand side, and man is eager for more. Realize that there came a few shots over out of that smoke.
Nice.
He still cannot support. That is the spike that still doesn't hit the ground. Kadafra's looking for the ace, but Doma says, I'm having none of that. Spike delivered on a silver platter.
Pulled up the Seekers as well. They know where Hype's going to be. Fantastic position right now for FNATIC. They have the spike. They know where Hype is. They have 2 players. They have the advantage. Durka has the operator. Brilliant stuff from Doma to be able to control the site. And FNATIC looking good. Durka seals the deal. And in round 26, FNATIC win.